I'm actually trying to wait for my a few other people to join, but since I do have at least one person watching, I'm going to try to do something really quick. Um, I've been practicing a little bit, and I am recording this too, uh, because I'm either going to let me update the information. What I'm either going to do is I'm either going to do all the convoys on easy or war patrol on hard. But that's why I have a timer up in the corner for me to record that. But what I want to try to do with this is actually teach people how to play this game. Because I know it seems very complicated. Obviously, right now there's a lot on the screen, there's a lot going on, but it's actually kind of simple to figure out. That one might miss. And I have been practicing a lot of these speed runs right now to see how quickly I can finish all the scenarios. But I've actually been writing up a script to actually teach people about every different aspect. But uh, obviously, when I'm playing, I get a little distracted and I'm thinking about other things. But if the sound levels are bad or if there's anything wrong with it, that's one of the things I want to hear in the chat or someone to talk about to let me know if my voice is actually, you can actually hear it compared to the sound effects and nothing's getting drowned out. But like that would be an example of a pretty easy mission to complete. Can put my screen name in Morse code. Okay, so that was that. And I'm just gonna record this whole thing. If I do a speed run during it, I'll just I'll start the timer and all that. But I am waiting just for a little bit more info. Uh, okay, so yeah. My broadcasting software is telling me it's picking up the sound of my voice at least, but I can't necessarily hear as what the broadcast is actually doing. But uh, it is letting me know I've been live for 5 minutes, recording for about 4. Um, but one of the things I'm trying to do right now is actually talk with the moderators over at speedrun.com to get some uh, new categories for this game. Because right now, the only 2 categories are torpedo gun practice and high score of the war patrol. And once again, I'm not sure if people are still here or not, but what I can do is just be on recording saying this too, and I can put it in for a video later. But I'll actually read some descriptions of what the convoy actions are, because the convoy actions are actually based on real life events. So let's say, for instance, convoy action number 1, the plunder. It's a misspelling. It should be the plunger. Plunger in the Inland Sea. Uh, the commander of this submarine of the get the cursor on it. So this one, the Plunder. Uh, this submarine was commanded by Lieutenant Commander D.C. White. It was a day attack, submerged, and the description is the USS Plunger, patrolling off the southern coast of Japan, sights an escorted cargo ship steaming east at high speed. This scenario gives you the opportunity to set up a torpedo firing solution against a moving ship. Remember that even though the torpedo data computer calculates the correct lead gyro angle to hit the target, it is often a good idea to fire a spread of torpedoes in case your target changes course unexpectedly. Um, my advice as someone who has played this game several times, you don't want to fire too many torpedoes at once. The NES can only handle roughly 4 projectiles, either in the air as shells or torpedoes at sea. So you don't want to do that. Uh, don't fire a spread, because then if they miss, you have to wait till they actually basically go off screen. You have to wait till your shots disappear before you can fire any more. The second convoy action, Wahoo. This submarine was commanded by Lieutenant Commander Mush Morton. It was a day surface attack, and this is off the New Guinea coast. USS Wahoo sights a small Japanese convoy. The situation is a submariner's dream, an unescorted convoy including a troop ship and large oil tanker. However, the convoy has radioed for help and a destroyer is on the way. Your objective is to strike quickly and cause as much damage as possible. Be sure to use your aft torpedoes if your bow tubes are empty. Uh, Usually that's what I do when I've played this scenario, is I try to sink the convoy as quickly as possible, and then I keep steaming at full speed on the surface. The destroyer will be trying to play catch up. Then I'll submerge. That way the destroyer can't shell me from the surface, but it'll keep chasing me, and it'll chase me at a higher speed. And I want them to catch up so that I can launch torpedoes. Um, then there is the Hammerhead at Borneo. I've got a few screens up at the same time, so I'm moving it around so I can read. I'm actually reading the descriptions directly from the instruction manual, but considering that this is a 31-year-old game, most people don't have the instruction manual anyway, so this is brand new to most people. The Hammerhead. This is Commander J.C. Martin. This is a night attack. It says the submarine radar picks up a large escorted convoy as the USS Hammerhead patrols the northern coast of Borneo. The tanker, one of Japan's dwindling handful remaining at this stage in the war, should be your primary target. This scenario introduces night combat against an escorted convoy. You should take care to avoid being spotted as long as possible. Use moderate speeds, keep a minimum profile toward the escort, and try to time your attack so that the escort is on the other side of the convoy. Once again, I'm going to directly contradict the instruction book on this one. Um, you don't really want to attack. Uh, you don't really want to attack the target before you clear the escort. The escort, if you sink that first, then the rest of the convoy you can strike at your leisure. So the smartest thing to do in that situation is to sink the escort first, and then pick off uh, the cargo ships as you want to. Then next, I really don't know how to pronounce this. I don't know how to pronounce that at all, honestly. But I'm not going to try. But it's the Sea Raven. That is commanded by Commander H. Cassidy. Um, this is somewhere between the Philippine Islands and the Japanese naval base at Truk Lagoon. USS Sea Raven comes across a northbound convoy. You are in a bad position, astern of the convoy in daylight. Um, so in this scenario, you start pretty far back behind the convoy, even with difficulty levels turned down. So the key to this one is to move to flank speed right off the bat. Surface, if you're playing on lower difficulties. And if you're playing on lower difficulties, you should be able to approach them as fast as possible and then actually submerge before the escorts are able to shell you. If they do shell you, don't try to submerge. It's better to just fight them on the surface. If you take a hit and attempt to submerge, chances are your gallons per minute leakage will keep carrying you to the bottom. So if you've taken any hits, despite it being, despite thinking, oh well, I'm a submarine, I'll be safer if I submerge. You'll actually be in more danger if you submerge after taking damage because you might not be able to surface again. So that is that scenario. And then you have the Tautog. Tautog at night. This was commanded by Lieutenant Commander Siegleff. And this is off the eastern coast of Japan. USS Tautog encounters a Japanese convoy. Night attacks depend very much on prevailing visibility conditions. During poor visibility, a low-lying sub can safely close with its target on the surface. If visibility is good, however, more caution is required. Uh, this is another one that's you can break into stories about it. But when I was deployed, um, I was actually a night shift worker. So when I worked at night, you could look out on the ocean. You wouldn't see anything. It would be pitch black because it would be dark enough that you've got stars and you've got the lights coming from the carrier, but when you're deployed and at night, you've switched to orange lights. So I can definitely see a submarine a submarine does not breach the surface of the water very far, even when it's fully when it's fully on the surface. Submarine is a very low profile, so to speak. Think of it like a car, like a lowrider car. Um, you wouldn't see a lowrider car if it was running through like a field of hay. You're not going to see a submarine, a black submarine, pitch black night. You're not likely to see that until it gets really close. Uh, and like the game says, unless visibility is very high. The last scenario is the grayback in the China Sea. This is a submerged They call it a submerged radar attack. Uh, I mean, I just do it visually usually. Um, this is a very difficult situation. 3 radar-equipped escorts are guarding the convoy. Your best hope is a dawn or dusk periscopic attack. If you're playing on the lowest difficulty, um, I think this might be. I don't have any proof of this. I don't have the programming skills to open up a NES cartridge or examine the programming. But I think this is an issue of difficulty setting versus the scenario they planned out. Because on the lowest difficulty settings, like Close Convoy and such like that, when you come into the scenario, well, here, let me show. I'm not running anything right now. I'll just show you. I'm turning it on lowest difficulty. As soon as I go in, like, I'm right next to these guys. So even if I tried to hide, they know I'm here. Like, I was running at 2/3 speed ahead, right next to their convoy. These destroyers are probably going to turn and start using their sonar, and they're going to ping, and they're going to find me. I think this scenario was supposed to be put on a higher difficulty, Because if you start further away, you can stalk your targets for a bit longer. I really want to pick out the destroyers first. Sometimes I've played this, and they just... That should make some engine noise. Because I really want them to start turning towards me. Because, like I said before, there are 3 enemies here. 3 ships I have to sink before I start going for the convoy, really. Now, I've never seen any ship in the game take more than 2 torpedoes. Now, they definitely know I'm here. Yep, you can kind of tell with the graphics how that one looks all like stubby like that. That's when they're coming right at you. I really don't want to waste or miss any torpedoes, because I can show you the gauges right. I only have 2 more torpedoes in my bow. I'm going in full reverse. Oop. Yep, and I ran into him. Well, at least it sank. Let me try that again, because especially if I'm doing a run, I'd actually want to get that done correctly. So, I'll try that again. I'm just going to do flank right away. I am going to fire a torpedo. Yeah. See, this time, because I wasn't trying to be quiet or talk very long, I got their attention right away with just my engine noise. Okay. And you saw how few torpedoes I actually have. Now, when I turn rapidly like that, and I'm not changing my rudder, that's where I'm using controller number 2. Ooh. Okay. Nope. Reverse. Stay reverse. I'm gonna surface. Hopefully I can... I just want to point out that realistically that would never happen. I just outgunned 2 destroyers on the surface. One of the ships is classified as a Kaibokan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, by the way. But a Kaibokan was basically a Kaibokan is kind of like a merchant ship, repurposed as a destroyer. It actually was outfitted with some pretty decent submarine tracking ability, but they typically were more lightly armed than a Japanese destroyer would be. Consider a Kaibokan to be like a makeshift destroyer, which it really was great for detection, but kind of more like a minesweeper, if anything. The Kaibokan was extremely dangerous for a submarine, but say, for instance, a battleship, it wouldn't even scratch the paint on a battleship. It was... Oh, see what... didn't even bother to check what targets I'm shooting at. So this is a tanker. Part of the reason that tankers were considered so valuable to sink was that, well, honestly, even from the beginning point of World War II, uh, the Japanese Navy was pretty starved for resources. So things like oil, gas, uh, they knew that as soon as they struck America. Essentially, that was the reason why Pearl Harbor was such a devastating attack. It was supposed to try to knock America out of the war immediately, um, basically by sinking all the ships while they were all together at Pearl Harbor. Um, and you know, there's a few conspiracy theories out there because um, none of America's carriers were at Pearl Harbor when it was struck. Um, they were all off on maneuvers, which is kind of weird when you think about it. Oh, thanks. Cool. I've been talking the whole time, by the way, so if you weren't here, I'm also recording as well. Um, that way I can upload this to YouTube afterwards. Um, I actually sent this out to a few other people. I was kind of hoping that they would join in, but to be honest, I gave the recommendation or I sent the word out, and some of them are I want to say technologically Luddites and have never used anything like Twitch before, so I'm not necessarily expecting everyone to show up, but that's fine. I will record, and technically this is my first stream ever, so to even have one viewer right now, it's something I've never done before, so that's pretty cool. So after every mission, you put in your uh, name, your screen name, or whatever. Oh no, it's okay. And the thing is, I was talking the whole time, um, and I'll upload everything I was saying onto YouTube, and I can give you the link to that later. I'll do that so because I basically read off a description of all of these because all of these scenarios in the game are actual actual representations of what happened, like the plunder scenario. No, plunger scenario. It's actually misspelled in the game. Um, oh, the background of the username. I really uh, like Greek mythology and stuff. So I took Icarus, took the I off of Icarus, changed the C to a K, went with that. I really like uh, so Daedalus, um, but I wanted to make it hard to explain, but almost a little bit more feminine. So I just changed the us to a Lin, and then I just kind of ran with it. So uh, nearly all of my accounts when it comes to gaming are named Karis Dadalin. And at one point, one of my friends sketched a drawing of this cool wolf character shooting blasters. So I just used that as my background for running games, and then just kind of went with it. So yeah, that's basically the story of why Karis Dadalin. Uh, and to an extent, I guess it makes a little bit of sense because my rate in the Navy was aviation electrician, so I did a lot with aviation. I enjoyed the Greek stories of aviation, so I went with that. But it does make it a little weird to be an all aviation rating and experience with the military, but now I'm attempting to get people interested in a submarine type game. It's a little strange, but you know what? I'm going to do a reset and just demonstrate a war patrol. And there is a delay, so that's another thing too. I realized this because I actually had my husband listen to me once, and we're in the exact same room. So I was speaking, and he had the stream up and running, and I heard everything I said almost exactly on a 2 second delay, which confused the heck out of me. Um, so these are war patrols. This is the big scenario of the game. This is basically where you take one of these submarines, you set the difficulty level, and then you go hunt on your own. Whereas the other parts of the game, you don't do any of this. What I'm doing right here, but basically what a war patrol was that American submarines in the Pacific were given a lot of leeway and kind of went out as solo hunters. It was sort of the polar opposite of the strategy that the Germans and Nazis, the Germans used in either World War One or the Nazis used in World War Two, whereas the Germans would hunt in packs to kind of corral convoys that they were. I'm having bad luck finding a target right now. Germans would corral a convoy. There we go. Germans would corral a convoy and work together as a group to bring it down. American submarines tended to hunt solo. It's just kind of an interesting thing, but when you think about the theater of war, it actually makes a lot of sense. Germans were hunting Germans were hunting typically around the Mediterranean, Black Sea, just off the coast of Spain, places like that. And while those are still large areas of ocean, um, but it's smaller. The Pacific is freaking huge. So when Americans were thinking of how to strategize their hunting, I know that seems crazy. I just wanted to try to approach the targets I was going to shoot at faster. By surfacing, I guarantee that Kaibokan saw me. And I'll be honest, I kind of forgot how much I said before you were on or after. A Kaibokan is like a repurposed destroyer. The Japanese would refit basically like civilian vessels with some high-tech sonar and radar, and then they could actually hunt submarines. Let's see what their... So, their course is 153? So, roughly over there. But, the reason American submarines hunting solo made a lot of sense is you could split them up, each send them in different directions, and they'd cover a ton of ground. I'm actually surprised the Kaibokan isn't moving towards me. Maybe if I shoot at it. I don't expect a hit. But they definitely know something just landed in the middle of all of them. But, yeah, with American submarines splitting off, each going their own way, captains were given a lot of freedom to hunt down anything they wanted to go for. Obviously, the times have changed a lot, but the fact that Americans have always given their enlisted or military a little bit more freedom than some other nations have done with their forces. Like, that was actually picked up on during the Cold War a lot. He is... That ship is... Well, I am playing on the easiest difficulty. I don't want to get that close and then get shelled. Yeah. When you hear that ping during the game, that finally lets you know that they know exactly where you are, basically. Oh, thanks. Might want to slow down. Like I said, I've never seen any ship in this game take more than more than 2 torpedoes. Yep, time to surface. And now the rest of the convoy behind them is totally unescorted. So, and that's a troop ship weighing 7,750 tons. And that's a cargo ship weighing 3,250. the the general numbers I go with, because I could read from the instruction book on what to do. There's actually like a math calculation, depending, because this number is in yards, and they even have in the manual like a calculation for how many yards the shell from a 4-inch deck gun travels over a 2,000 meter or a 2,000 yard distance, and that's way too much math for me to keep in my head. So what I tend to do is, if a ship is moving slowly, um, and you can see right now this has a speed of 8 knots, I've got a speed of 20 knots. If a ship is moving slowly, you can probably hit them from about 6,000 yards away. But if they're moving and you're moving, um, you probably need to be anywhere between 3 to 2,000 yards to hit reliably. And one thing I've noticed is if I drop to the same speed an enemy is going, and I'm trailing them directly from the back, my deck gun tends not to hit. The deck gun, oh, that's another thing to describe. The deck gun aboard a submarine is a 4-inch deck gun. This game is very unrealistic in that a submarine could never possibly outshoot a destroyer on the surface. There's just no way. But, you know, there's a lot of things that this game couldn't actually do entirely correctly. Like, destroyers in this game can't fire torpedoes because that would be way too many projectiles for the game to keep track of. So, realistically, that Kaibokan, as soon as it saw me, it would have launched torpedoes and I would have been sunk. But I play the game as it was designed, not... Oh. Spotted another target right next to it. But yeah, the purpose of War Patrol is to basically sink as many tons as you can before you come back. Some of the greatest submarine captains in history could sink up to maybe 50,000 tons before coming back from about a 2-month patrol. Which that's pretty amazing when you consider how much ships weigh. And once again, the tons aren't necessarily like literally the weight of the ship. That's displacement tons. That's how many tons of water the ship displaces when it's at sea. I'm gonna surface again, change the time scale. The time scale of this game automatically is 4 times real life. So basically every 4 seconds in real life while playing this game, roughly 15 minutes. Ooh, okay, that was... Oop. Well, see, that's what I was saying. Don't surface. Hey there, I think I know who you are. Yeah. Oop. Yeah, I'm taking some damage, but I'm playing on the E. Ooh, I need to maybe reverse. Oh, okay. Don't run into me. Oh, man. That, Oop. There we go. Oh, that's a Kaibokan. Oh, man. Luckily, he's a bad shot. I'm not really sure why my deck gun is missing. I'm guessing I should change the deflection of it. Oh. Alright. Okay. Flank speed ahead. Whew! Okay. That was actually really close. Let me I can show you what damages look like. So right now my sub is taking on 150 gallons per minute. Crap. My deck gun has been damaged, so that won't shoot. My pumps are damaged, so I can't submerge, and my machinery is damaged. So if anyone's checking me, oh, and I'm still going forward as that's happening, so I might want to look. Luckily, I put this on the lowest difficulty, so uh, my crew is actually going to repair the ship, repair the sub, but that was something I was going to comment on when I do my full tutorial, is that the see, repair is complete. Let me switch to that screen again real quick. Realistically, those would not be fixed. I mean, I know that in real life, in game, everything, your damage assessment crews actually try to. Oh no! I don't think I'm going to be anywhere close to sinking soon. Let me check how many shells I have though. I have 55 shells, but as you can see, I've only got one torpedo left in my bow, which means if I want to, actually, technically, right now. Uh, If I want to shoot those ships, I'm going to have to shoot them with my butt. I'm going to have to flip the sub around and try to fire my aft torpedoes. But I'm just going to chase them for a little bit. Maybe my deck gun will get repaired. Nope, not yet. But they can't move faster than me. Even though their dots are getting small on the horizon there. That might just be visibility changing. There's a lot here to read on the gauges too. Like one thing, like obviously this right here is telling you that my engine is moving ahead, not reverse. I'm traveling, due east. I can't even read that one to be honest. There's my battery charge. Uh, Batteries. One thing you don't want to do with batteries is let them expire when you're submerged. Batteries basically kick in to keep your sub going when you're submerged. But if you basically maneuver underwater for a little bit over an hour, your batteries will drain all the way out. And if your batteries drain, you won't be able to perform maneuvers until you surface again. So, just checking the... Alright. Well, I've got two people here. So what I'm going to do is, rather than kind of limp to these guys, I'm just going to quit this out. No, I don't want to fight. I just want to quit this out. And I'm going to ask you two what you might like to see, because there's two types of speed runs that I might be able to do. One is a quick playthrough of all of the... One is a quick playthrough of all the historical scenarios, and the other one is a war patrol on higher difficulty. Just interested in hearing what some people might like to see. Because by default, it would be a world record because no one's ever done it before. And I still am recording. If I upload this to YouTube, it might be one of the longest videos I've ever done, which is kind of cool. So, any recommendations for War Patrol? Okay. All right, that's the first one I saw. I'm just going to go with that. I'm going to do War Patrol with the Tang. So to do this on difficult, what you need to do to get the highest rank in the game is to at least put the difficulty up to level 6 or level 7. So I need to find something I want to add. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add dud torpedoes. Oh, okay. My vision is augmented. Good. So you're here too. Cool. Uh, I think I think I'm pretty sure who everyone is, but I did ask everyone to try not to use real names, just in case any strangers come popping in. But difficulty level 7 is the high, or difficulty level 7 is the highest that any of the PC players have used when you do the cart, or installed on the cartridge. So you know, like when you play a an arcade game like Defender, and it has the high score list. Well, you have to be playing on difficulty level 7 in this game to be on the high score, to get the highest rank on the high score. And the specific amount of tonnage you need to sink is you need to sink more than 39,300 tons. So, what I'm going to do is, oh yeah, up in the corner there, I can't move the cursor all the way there. That's my that is my timer. So when I do continue, I'm going to start the timer. And as long as I finish, theoretically, it is a world record because no one's ever run it before. So we'll start in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. And I might take it a little bit safe. I'm probably not going to do anything stupid uh, like I was doing before, zooming at them, turning the time dilation as high as it goes, and not being stealthy at all. Japanese convoys were typically, you'd want to, yep, just like that, travel close to the main. So there's the, oh man, that's a 3,600 ton destroyer. So this is either dawn or dusk. Um, I don't, I I know there's supposed to, oh, okay. Right now it is like roughly 19, so this is nighttime. We are shortly before midnight. Uh, to be honest, I didn't look at the. I'm guessing. This will make me sound like an idiot, but I'm not that great on my geography. I think that might be New Guinea. Maybe I'm not sure. I've probably just outed myself as a moron right there, but I'm not really sure where I'm off the coast of. But I do spot a giant destroyer. And the good thing is, when you're traveling at night, and with the low profile that a submarine has, it's unlikely that they'll see me. Now, the target's course is 233. So, 233, that would basically be heading west. So they're heading west, and I'm heading north to meet them. Okay, cool. Good, you know. So the destroyer is going to be the first ship I want to deal with. A lot of times in the instruction manual, it does suggest to sink the target like a tanker or the troop ships first, because obviously that was the highest priority for a submarine. The submarine wants to destroy the materials and troops being transported in combat, but for the purposes of gameplay, ooh, okay, let me change that. I don't want to rush too fast, because if he starts shooting, I wonder if that's the only ship. One thing I am going to do is I'm going to do kind of a lengthy tutorial. So he's just, I think that ship might be, he might be alone. Yep, that's, oh, well, nope, I was traveling so long it's daytime now. So let me put the periscope up. I'm only like 10 feet underwater. Let's go down to about 40 feet. You can't, your periscope can only go to roughly like 44 feet. I know some times they'll actually say that the periscope is 60 feet long, and that might be the absolute length of a periscope, but obviously with waves and other things, it doesn't actually become useful if it's being slapped with everything. So you want the periscope to pierce the surface of the water. But yeah, this is just a 3,600 ton destroyer out by itself. I'm not seeing any other uh, of the convoy with it. So, I mean, I want to. It's almost not worth it to sink, but I'm already here. I'm already this close, and chances are you would ping me with sonar anyway, so I might as well. Uh, what I was telling Rose Galaxy before is that one of the I think I was saying this, but I might have got distracted. The one of the aspects that this game cannot handle is torpedoes from destroyers. Realistically, a destroyer. Oh, I need to slow down. Realistically, a destroyer would just launch torpedoes and sink you, but the NES can't handle that many projectiles at once. For instance, I'm limited to firing 4 torpedoes at once. So I'm getting pretty close. Basically, I want to get close enough to ensure that there's no way this guy can suddenly change course and avoid the torpedoes. I rarely see a ship survive more than 2. Usually it only takes 2 torpedoes to sink anybody. But this guy is kind of oblivious right now. I'm like 2,500 yards from him and he still hasn't seen me yet. Or even pinged for me, which is kind of weird. One of the things I wanted to point out when maybe with more viewers or things like that, because the helicopters that I worked on when I was deployed were actually specifically for hunting submarines. And one of the, I guess, questions that sometimes I've heard from people is like, well, why would you use helicopters to hunt for submarines? Why don't you just use other ships? They have sonar. But the thing about sonar is that sonar works in both directions. If you send out a ping, you're telling everyone exactly where you are. Now, theoretically, if I was submerged, like, say, over 200 feet, and this destroyer isn't running any sonar, well, the destroyer would be on the surface of the water. I wouldn't have a periscope that goes up 200 feet. I wouldn't know that he's there if I was staying silent, and he wouldn't know if I was there. So by using sonar, you're always giving away your own position. He's actually starting to get a little further away from me. You know, I might as well. Now, for sure, this guy should know that I am here now. If they even have some, maybe the sonar operator's taking a bathroom break or something. But the noise of a torpedo in the water, you know, I think the torpedo. Ooh, nope, that actually did hit, like dead, like right at the tip there. Now let's see. Now he's changing course. I don't want to fire until I know what his final course is going to be. Chances are it'll be directly from where I shot, so he'll be coming to settle right over me. And to be honest, I've spent so long talking and hunting this one ship. This really isn't worth it for a world record run, to be honest, but I'm having more fun just telling you guys what's going on right now than trying to do it really fast. In real life, couldn't you maintain the same position on their sonar radar? I mean, theoretically, yeah, but I mean, with World War II level precision, I'm not sure if that was as likely. So, yeah, that's that. So this. Oh, there we go. So there's one of the things about putting it on the highest or the harder difficulty is, or I put it on captain difficulty. When you put it on captain difficulty, what it really changes is the RNG of the of what is likely to come with the convoy. So if you put it on the lowest difficulty, you may get a completely unescorted convoy with no destroyers or Kaibokans. And I'm assuming, Paul Denton, you might be able to tell me, uh, would that be the correct pronunciation? Kaibokan? That's what I'm assuming. But the Kaibokan was basically a makeshift destroyer. It They had relatively sophisticated radar and sonar equipment on them, but Kaibokans were not as well armed as a destroyer. A Kaibokan's top speed was probably a little bit under 20, like maybe around 18 knots. Whereas my top speed, as you can see, like right now, I am at top speed right now, uh, is around 20 knots. Versus a destroyer, and destroyers can steam ahead at about 30 knots. So destroyers had the largest engines. Okay. Thank you. Um, Destroyers out of the different classes of ships. If you go Kaiboken, the slowest, then submarines, then destroyers. Ooh, I don't. Let me check what time it is. So it's like almost 6 in the morning. No, I can't do that. I'll have to surface. Basically, the visibility is too dark now for the scope. So basically what that's saying is, for purposes of the simulation, if I tried to submerge and use the periscope, it's pitch black. You're not going to see anything. So a lot of times during night attacks in World War II, you just go on the surface. I know, obviously modern submarines, like you're talking like Hunt for Red October type stuff, you can stay submerged for months. But realistically, in World War II, submarines were almost just as much surface combatants as they were hidden. So I'm also letting Belgorod and Paul Denton know. I am recording this for the purpose of YouTube, so I'm probably going to put that up there. I'll say that right now my world record runs are still being, they are still being, I guess, verified. Right now there's only one moderator of this game on speedrun.com. Now I lost sight of the Kaibokan. Couldn't you well, realistically, yeah, I could. But I'm also... and who knows, that might even happen. Because time is still moving. There's the Kaibokan. Now, if he starts coming at me, yes. That's what I'll do. I'm going to submerge, but let's take a shot. It should be right, like, oh. I'm hoping that's the only escort. I'm going to be frustrated. There we go. There we go. And, oh, I think I set him on fire already, so... I do believe that this game calculates some of the damage for enemy ships as well. So, like, if they're on fire, they're not quite as effective. Just like people. When you set people on fire, they are not quite as effective. Ships are not quite as effective when they are on fire. And now I am missing a bit more. I think he is turning... Nope. Hell. Maybe I shouldn't be going at flank speed now that I'm getting this close. Alright, he is turning away from the convoy. Either that or he has been slowed by damage. And he's falling behind. Okay. So that gets rid of the escort. Which means I've got... Oh, man! That is a 7,750 ton troop ship. My grandfather would have loved to have sank this. He said, for the purposes of this game, just want to reiterate. Uh, I don't want to advocate, and I don't want anyone. I know all three of you. I know you all wouldn't do it, but I don't want to advocate any actual violence against Japanese people. Just for the record, if that wasn't painfully obvious. But I do really enjoy historical simulations and learning about the tactics and what was used at the time. Now, one thing just to point out, I am just turning my ship, or I'm turning my sub with the rudder. But notice the difference between what my binoculars are saying and what this is saying. Heading is which way your sub is facing exactly. Bearing is which direction you're looking. So right now, I am looking exactly where my submarine is heading. But, so right now, my submarine's heading right now is 97 degrees. But I could use controller 2 and just pivot my binoculars, which also pivots my deck gun. So that's how that works. Now he is starting to pull away from me, and I'm just wasting time right now. So I'm going to try to finish this guy off. Sorry, I'm reading a message at the same time. Okay, cool. Yeah, I really like your recommendation, by the way. I'm probably going to try to come up with ways to run this. Oh, I left my cursor on the screen. I am running this on an emulator. It makes it easier for me to record. Wait, which one is Madlax? I don't know your ways. I don't know your thing. Ah, there we go. Starting to get the cargo ship. But like I said, to me, one of the fascinating things about like learning about submarine history and submarine warfare in general is just how different the Germans and the Americans both took it. One statistic I didn't know until I started researching this game. Oh man, I am gonna take forever, by the way. So, I'm gonna upload this as a speed run, and then let anyone know if they want to destroy it, they can. But they do have to play the game on a higher difficulty. They're going almost exactly perpendicular to me. Now, I want to be careful. I might actually pop my head up. I know, like I said, this is stupid. This is like a speedrun tactic. But I'm popping my head up and I'm saying, hey, I'm right here. Come at me, bro. And then I'm gonna dive again. So, okay, see that? That ping noise? That ping noise means they are going to close in on you. But another big reason I want to get their attention and bring them away from the convoy is then I can shoot my torpedoes at them freely. And like I said, part of the reason this is such a stupid thing to do is, in real life, those destroyers would be launching torpedoes at me right now and I'd be sunk. That's a good one. We did that with, what's it called? Altered Carbon Season 2? Man, that drove me freaking nuts. I could not stand that. But anyways, destroyer 1900 tons. Yeah, come at me. Yeah, I think that's the only. Ooh, man, 10,500. I can't wait to sink this guy because once I get rid of. See, there is a Kaiba. Ooh, okay. Let me slow down. Now this. Ooh, that was a nice. That was a nice dodge. Okay. I think those. Oh man. Okay. Woo! Oh, man, is that another one? Oh, crap. Okay. Well, that might be a lot to handle. Yeah, that definitely is. Whew. Okay. I'm glad I stopped, and I might be able to take one with deck guns on the surface, but I don't know about my odds of two. Okay, whew, man. Like I said, this is absolutely the dumbest thing that a submarine captain could do. Oh, nope. Oh, shoot. Okay. So let's see if I can try. I am just basically putting the sucker in reverse. And I am... now, what I want to point out how ridiculous this is what you literally just saw was someone surfacing with their gun pointed at the ship that was chasing them and then shooting so fast that they sank them. One of the reasons that's obviously impossible is when a submarine breaches the surface, it kind of takes a little while to arm the deck gun and get people on it. But, you know, this is NES land. It's fine. It works. I mean, sinking this ship by itself takes me up to 30,200 tons. Oh, you saw at least Altered Carbon Season 2, like, just, oh, wait, I'm pointed this way. But, yeah, Altered Carbon Season 2, I'm not going to turn this into a sci-fi show review. Oh, okay. I'm not going to turn this into a sci-fi show review, but holy crap. In comparison to Season 1, which I binged the crap out of, I watched that in a very short period of time. Season 2, I was dragging my ass to watch the... oh no, I just realized if I upload this on YouTube, I said ass. I'm going to be demonetized. No, okay, no spoilers, zero spoilers. I'm just saying that with... I was interested in watching the first season, and then the second season, I just... like you suggested, the 5 episode rule. I watched, I think we got to episode 6 though, but the fact that I didn't even want to finish the last 2 episodes is just, that's my only opinion on it. So now I'm taking out this troop ship and that tanker. I was explaining... Oh, yeah, exactly. Demonetized. You know, I've heard that you can get demonetized on YouTube for saying the word death, kill, die, because I know there's some Minecraft YouTubers that won't even say the word kill, death, or die in any way. But, I'll be honest, the YouTube channel that my husband and I did create years ago, yeah, that's also how I felt about Stargate SG-1. I tried to get into it, and 5 episodes in, I was not doing it. So I did basically what I did with, well, we stopped that, but we switched to Stargate Atlantis, and Stargate Atlantis is pretty freaking good. It's really neat to see Jason Momoa in one of his first roles and have it actually be good. Man, these are really heavy ships. I will say, just for the purpose of my I want to advertise the fact that I did do world records, but honestly, the thing with the world records is, okay. The thing with my world records was the first one, I didn't record any voice. Whew. I'm gonna run into him. The first one I didn't record any voice, and the second one was the first time. Okay, all right, that's fair, but we also have hindsight for TNG. Um, but with my world record runs, ooh, I'm so close. Let me check these again. All right, that's gonna be a problem because I only have like 2 torpedoes left. All right, so that's a destroyer. You know what I'm gonna do? This is gonna be another. I'm doing this just to show off, but I'm gonna put this like. Oop, there we go. I'm basically gonna turn this sub around, and I'm gonna see if I can drive in reverse. I'm gonna back up the destroyers to death. But now that they're closing on me, I might just, Alright. So, like I said, those pings let you know. Alright, flank speed. Now I need to turn all the way around. This is a good reason to have a reference down. Okay. Now, I'm going flank speed, but I'm also underwater. So... Wait. Yeah, up. That's another hard thing, too. Driving in reverse, your rudders are a little different. You have to remember that left is right and right is left. Alright, I think those are 2 destroyers there. So what I want to do... I want to anticipate. So, because the destroyers can't launch torpedoes, what they're trying to do is get right over you and use depth charges. So... Alright. Oh, man. I really want to sink that guy. Alright. Okay. Now, I hate to say that, but theoretically, even if I died... Ooh. I have already sunk enough to beat the high score, but I'd rather come back home alive, so I'm going to fight this guy on the surface, which is once again pretty dumb. Ooh, I got hit. But so did they, and they're on fire. Yep. Alright. Once again, I'm doing this to show off. You know, the thing is, I've never even seen anyone in any of their runs or previous gameplay do something like this, like even use their aft torpedoes. So I gotta speed up though, because that's taking some time. I'm gonna chase those guys. Heading is 50. Let me turn back around. I think after this, I probably am gonna sign off for the night though, just because this is already a lot longer than I was expecting. Woo, woo, woo. Going nuts because I got the time dilation on. Am I still there? But, I have sank over 41,800. Okay, cool. I have sank over that many tons. This will definitely get me the highest rank that is available right now. And one of the things I was thinking of is doing more of a full tutorial for this game so I can try... Well, wait. After this, I want to sink these guys first. I'm not leaving yet. I'm not going to leave a cargo ship and another cargo ship unsunk. I'm going to go for these guys. But, let's see. But yeah, after this game, I am probably going to be off with tonight. But just want to say, oh yeah, before I got distracted by that many destroyers coming at me at once, um, the world record for torpedo and target practice I did that first, and I completed the torpedo and target practice in like 52 seconds, but I didn't record my voice. And then the second one I did this exact same type of gameplay. I did the War Patrol on the lowest difficulty setting, and I managed to sink roughly like 49,000 tons in about 10 minutes. So, yeah, this is about 3 times longer than my world record run, but it's also on 6 difficulty levels higher than when I played the first time. But this is one of the first times I've actually successfully managed to record both my voice, sound effects, and talk to people in real time. So it's good practice for me, so I can try to answer questions. Because I know inevitably, oh yeah, that's another thing. People always, when they see this game, think, oh, what the heck, why is this dude just chilling with a beard, wearing a sweater and pants and stuff? Okay, uniforms during World War II were a little bit more lax. So if you wanted to wear a command sweater and just wear like overall blue, like that's fine. Like this is probably what a submarine captain would look like during World War II. They didn't always wear like full uniform and stuff. So I've seen a lot of people make fun of the game because they're like, why is that dude just chilling on a submarine? It's probably is the captain. Back in World War II, you were also allowed to have beards. The submarine force was at least. But people have been asking for that for decades and have never gotten it. I'll be honest, beards would not have kept me in the Navy. Alright. So that looks like that is it. Now what happens is, after you're... Now, I could... I could keep going and try to use every... Oh, that would be time. So, I don't know if I'd submit this or not for a time, like on speedrun.com. But, oh, dang. Okay. Well, that's already captured in the recording. But what I'm proud of is normally when you complete a run, it'll give you a rank right here, like enter your name, captain, enter your name, ensign, junior or lieutenant, junior grade. Well, WGSC stands for World's Greatest Submarine Captain. So I just got the rank of World's Greatest Submarine Captain. There are greater ones in history, I can say for sure. Like the actual commander of the Tang, his story is pretty crazy, and that's another thing I kind of wanted to do is with this Twitch. I'd like to stream, like, obviously playing some of the game, but I'd also like to go into some of the naval history of the different captains and commanders of the actual submarines. So that's where you can see Karis is at the top with 47,350 tons, and the commander of the Tang, like I said, the actual captain of the Tang sank like over like 50,000 tons during his whole career. But obviously these are taking the tonnages of a single war patrol. So that's one. That's one thing. But if I hit start again, I just want to go back to this for a second because no one was on when this music was playing. I love this music because every time I hear it, it takes me back to the time that my grandfather and I would go into the basement and be playing this for, the entire weekend. So, I know it doesn't sound like much 8-bit music, but I absolutely love it. And to me, as a 5-year old, I thought that was the coolest graphic in the world. Seeing a submarine with a burning ship in the background, I thought the graphics of this were cool, and of course we've come a bit since then. But anyways, I'm gonna call it a night for tonight. We're probably going to uh, do some edits and stuff like that. I'm going to put up a tutorial video. I want to say in the next 2 weeks, roughly. I don't want to make a hard promise on that. But I probably am going to upload this to YouTube just as one whole stream. Um, because by default, uh, 31:37 is the world record. Uh, because no one has ever made a run of the highest score in this game before, like the highest ranking score. Uh, when I will be honest, if I try for real world record attempts, I'll record them, but I'm probably not going to talk as much as I am right now. But would love to show you guys some more. So, like I said, this is on a delay, so I'm probably not going to see your goodbye messages for right now, but I'll work around and try to figure out some good times for streaming and hopefully talk to you guys in the real world shortly after this. So I'll sign off for tonight, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right, have a good one. Good night, everybody.